What's up, everybody? It's your man Drake Mack with another episode of the Drake Mack Podcast Show. I told y'all we got 12 o'clock show with my man Arthur, speaker, life coach Jay Young. So give me just a second. About to get the audio podcast going on. That you tune into the podcast. I'm live right now on Facebook and I'm live on YouTube. So give me about 30 seconds. Let me go ahead and get the audio podcast going, and we're gonna go from there. All right, this is your man Drake Mack, about to get the audio podcast going on the Drake Mack Show. You just reached the hottest podcast in your ear right now. This is the Drake Mack Show. Now, without further ado, here is your host, Drake Mack. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? This is your man Drake Mack with another episode of the Drake Podcast Show, coming to you live Thursday. I think today is the 14th of October and it's cold outside. But I got a special guest. My good friend, my boy, my homie, man Jay Young, Arthur speaker, life coach. And if you're seeing this on Facebook Live, you're seeing this on YouTube Live right now, the Law of Subtraction. Law of Subtraction. What's going on with you, bro?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. So we're gonna be talking about the book today. But for people who are new to the Drake Mack Podcast Show, of course, like I said, I'm live on YouTube right now. I'm live on Facebook. Just got notification. I'm live on Facebook. Make sure you drop your comments in the comments section from YouTube and Facebook. But this is also live on Speaker Radio. That's SPREAKER. Live on the radio. It is on iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer. It's on YouTube. The audio version is on YouTube. So wherever you get your podcasts at, man, make sure to check this out. And make sure to like and share this video. And make sure you're liking and sharing this book, The Law of Subtraction. So since I got Jay in the house today, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell everybody, if they don't know you, for my audience, how you got started, the life coaching, all of that. Let's break it down, man. Let's give them a piece of you.
Okay, reality speaker, Jay Young, born and raised originally in California. So this is my second home now, but pretty much I've been doing life coaching my whole life.
Hold on, real quick, Jay. There we go.
Okay.
It's breaking up a little bit. We got you now.
All right, you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much I've been doing life coaching my whole life, but as I got older, I went ahead and just improve my life to go ahead and start meeting more people and not just the people that immediately bring it.
Hold up. For some reason, the audio was going in and out on your side. Do you have a pair of headphones? Are you using your headphones? Using the phone mic?
No, right now I'm just using the phone mic.
Oh, okay. Because it's going in and out just a little bit, so it was kind of hard for me to pick you up on the speaker. But you say you've been doing the life coaching thing. How long you been doing the life? You've been a life coach.
I've been a life coach even for some years now, but I think it was breaking up. Even before I actually got the title, I've been
Yeah,
giving people all my life. Can you hear me okay? It's still
yeah,
breaking up.
it's still going in and out. Yeah, it's still kind of breaking up. So do this off of the guest and then use that link to get back in so we can try to fix the audio on that. So click it off and then go back in as a guest and we're going to try to fix that audio. All right, so we're gonna have him back, but make sure you guys are checking out. This is on Amazon.com right now. The Law of Subtraction. Uh, I'm just starting to dive into it. It's a different type of book, and when I say it's a different type of book, I wanted him to explain it, but when you're reading it and you're going through the chapters, I think it's 26 chapters, it's a very different type of book as way as it is formatted. So he talks about a lot of different situations and issues in here. Like he talks about scared of being bored, which me and him talked about it. My boy, what's up, Randy? He said, I got it. You know what I mean? B is up in the house. Why we should not forget. It's other type of chapters, illusion of choice. So I make sure you guys are. Let's see again. Let's see if we can just go on
Tell me
again.
if that's better now.
Yeah, it's way better.
Okay, I went ahead and just made some adjustments.
Oh, okay. So I was talking about the book, and I was talking about some chapters in the book, but go ahead and talk about being a life coach again, so people can really understand. You know, when you made that transition from what you were doing prior to being a life coach and being impactful in people's lives.
Okay, so even I know the audio was kind of breaking up even before, but even for years, even people around. Can you hear me? Okay, it's getting like a lot of feedback.
Yeah, yeah, I can. I
You
can
said,
hear
yeah,
you.
you can hear me. Okay,
Yep.
so for years, even people that know me, even people I've been around, they always was the type to come to me for advice, knowing I'll be real, even to give them that reality of things, even when sometimes it even stung, So I just went ahead and just pretty much adapted that later on in life. Was like, okay, I'm already doing this anyways, but why not just expand what I'm doing so that way I can even help people even outside of my circle, people around, and just expand my purpose and what I'm initially supposed to be doing in the first place.
Right, right. And tell everybody what she was doing prior to being a life coach. You know what I'm saying, with the music and everything that she was doing for years. And what people don't really understand, if you go back and listen to his music, a lot of that's in his book as far as the subject matter in which what we was talking about. So talk about your experience, doing music, coming from Cali to Kansas, what I'm saying, to Kansas City, and the experience you have that actually helped develop this book.
Okay, so even with the music, and of course I didn't kind of close the chapter even in the music, but with the music, when I originally did the music, it was a lot of things I left out even when I was doing the music because I know certain things if I would have talked about in the music, it would have been too deep. But people that have heard my music know that I did a very good balance of bringing a lot of things to the table while at the same time not overdoing it even for my audience at that time. So
Right.
as I grew older and as I started to transition, excuse me, even into my purpose even more, I was like, okay, I really need to get out this knowledge, and I can't get it out on this platform like I really can because of how music is going and the direction music is going in. So it's best that I kind of step away even from this at this time and go ahead and just become this full out life coach. That way I'm able to expand my knowledge and able to just explain it to just different people also.
Hold on just for a second. For like my phone put the and then everything else just went silent. So try to speak again, Jay, so we can try to get you back
Can you
the
hear me?
audio again.
Okay, yeah, because the audio sounded
Okay,
like I'm
so
getting like funny feedback.
it's doing some stuff again. So give me a second. Let me try to. I'm gonna remove you from the stream. I want you to come back on. Be back on. So there we go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. That's the only thing that about StreamYard is that they need to fix. Is once on my phone happens, it cuts the entire audio out. So of course, in our man CJ said, facts about the music part. We've been doing, we've done music for years, and I've seen your growth ever since I've been knowing you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what you said about music is true because the way that music is going, you can't speak about a lot of the things that you're explaining in this book. And matter of fact, I'm gonna just
Yeah.
read.
Not at all.
Right. So I'm gonna just read one thing, and I was saying this actually when I went live, not too long ago, when I was talking about Cube, and I'm gonna get your opinions on this Cube talking to Trump. You know what I'm saying about the Black Plan, but this is literally the best thing about this book. It opens up and said the truth is not a hard pill to swallow at all. Reality is, and people don't like to deal in reality. They want to deal with the pill, not deal with the after effects of the pill, the reality of it. You know what I mean? And the gravity and the weight that comes with that. You know what I'm saying? So when you initially came out and you wrote that, I know you smiled because you knew
Yep.
it was the truth. What went into that?
Because so when I did that, of course, the book is an anomaly. Everything about the book is totally different. So just as if I was doing an album, I was like, okay, I got to open it up hard. I got to have a
Right,
hard, dope, fire line. So I was like, okay, how can I open it up just to draw people in initially? So I'm like, okay, I got it. Went ahead and wrote that, and you even see even how I did it, and even how the caps is, and even
right,
so far, I'm getting a lot of feedback, even from people who especially even read it already. But initially, even from the first chapter, I had people was like, man, I read that first chapter like about 3 times. They was like, it sounded like an intro to the song.
right,
It sounded like an intro to the album. So,
right.
I had to do it that way just to have that big impact. Be like, oh, okay, this what he's doing. Let me kind of sit up and get ready to read this and see what I'm about to read.
Right, because I started reading it, of course, with work and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I just got my vacation time, so now I can really dive into it and really read it. But when I first started reading it, that's the first thing it hit me. It's almost like I had to read it over and over and over again. And
Good,
I know you
good.
said that was the purpose. You did it
Yep.
on purpose. What went into the thought process of writing something to say, okay, I'm gonna make you think about it, and I'm gonna make you read it over and over again till you get it.
Okay, even the way that I constructed the book, and you see all the different things I got in there, which is intentional. I
Right,
got it in there because I did not want it to read like a book. Everybody's mindset is formatted to the way books have been written since we've been children. So
right,
it was already in a sense a breath of fresh air, even to open up the book like, oh, wait, hold on, this is different. Hey, why is it done
right,
this way? What? It's starting off on chapter Z. Why is it starting off on chapter Z
right,
but ending on chapter A? You're like, what is he doing? All the way to, of course, people was looking at the cover, and even me
right,
being out selling it, and I'm talking to people, I'm like waving in my hand. It's like, you got it upside down. I'm like, no, I don't. They're like, oh, it's not upside down. I'm like, no. I'm like, look again. So it was all meant to be like a puzzle to mess with people's head. But at the end of the day, where you absolutely love it or I hate it, you're gonna be thinking about it. You like, okay, you either gonna get a headache or you gonna grow from it and gain knowledge. Be like, okay, I see why he did that. That makes sense.
right. And a lot of times when you're reading books, you normally have books in regular, what we call regular font. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You open this mug up and it's like it bold, big font. You like, okay, but it's different because a lot of people you don't get that from a lot of authors. You get, basic, plot
Yep.
premise. You know what I'm saying? Or you like autobiography form, which when I was reading James Baldwin's book, because it has a lot of his writings in it, it's still in a autobiography type of tone. This here is completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. So let me ask you, let me ask you this. What was one of the favorite chapters that once you start writing it, you was like, I know that this chapter is fire. They gonna get it. What's your favorite chapter of this book?
Honestly, I don't even have a favorite because even like you said and like we mentioned even earlier, even with music, I wrote it in a sense to have a tone of an album. So I wrote in a sense if I was doing an album. So just like if you're doing an album, you can listen to one song one day and be like, okay, yeah, this one I need for this day. You can listen to another one. Okay, I'm going through this, so I need this on this particular day. So I
Right.
wrote it that way so when people reading, they could bounce around depending on what's going on in their life and be able to resonate even with it and be like, okay, this is exactly what I need. All the way down to people, just like you put a song on repeat. I didn't have people's like, I done read this chapter, I don't know how many times, because I need it. I want to make sure I get it. Same way, just like that song. Hey, I gotta put that on repeat. I gotta hit that again. Make sure I get everything. I want to learn the words to it. I want to know the melody.
Right. And you did a chapter about fear.
Yeah.
And just reading the first part of it, you said fear. Just point, fear. Let's talk about it. What actually is fear? Have you thought about this in depth? And I think that's the thing. And I'm gonna ask you about Cube talking to Trump because I just had a long conversation about that. So I want to get your thoughts. But
Okay.
that's a deeper part when you start thinking about why are you in fear of your unknown or fear of what you don't know, and you really thought about what really is fear. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's a deep point because then a person can sit back and be like, what do I fear? Do I fear about growing up, or do I fear about getting married or being in a relationship, or fear of leaving my job and being an entrepreneur and going on out on my own to do my own thing? You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
hit a lot of chapters in here that a lot of people can hit. But again, chapter Z, literally, I'm reading that over and over and over and over. I ain't even got to chapter
Mm-hmm.
the next chapter because I'm too busy. Like, okay, what is you really what is the actual meaning?
Because I had to set up that because again I had to set up that overall tone because I didn't want it to read like a book. I wanted to read like a conversational piece. So it's almost like me and you having this dialogue right now. So I wanted to be like I'm sitting in front of you, giving it to you live and direct. So that's why I got that different tone. So it's almost like you having that good conversation and you hear something you go, oh, say that again just one more time. Say that again one more time.
Right,
Like, okay, I got it. That makes so much sense. And that's how I had
right.
to open it up with that tone where you be like, hey, he not lying. Like, that's real.
It's my hold on. Put him back on the screen again. Normally, since I'm off work, my alarms are going off. There are times that I normally will wake up. So I apologize, y'all. But my friend Tisha, which is a friend to the show, go back and check her our conversation now on the Dre Mac podcast show. Tisha said that fear is just inverted faith. And that's actually super duper deep. If you think about faith, you put your faith in the unknown. If you look at fear, you put your fear in the unknown. So she was
I can see that.
absolutely right on that. That's yeah,
Yeah, I can
that's
agree
deep.
with
I
that.
Tisha always, Tisha always doing that, girl. Tisha need to stop. But no, so what is okay? So let me ask you this: since I was talking about it, so we were talking about fear, and that's in your book. Cube comes out and says, "I want to do." He did this months ago. It's how to do a declaration for Black people. We instead of just blindly voting, we gonna come and ask for what we want. You know what I mean? So he
Okay.
goes and asks the Democrats, hey, this is what Black people, this is the plan for Black people. You know what I'm saying? Something that he's applying. Then he goes out to Trump It said Trump's campaign camp. It said, "This is what we're looking at." One camp says, which is the Democrats say, "Hey, get in the back of the line. We basically gonna do you. We'll talk about it after the election." Trump's camp said, "We'll talk about it now." And here's, you know what I'm saying? Here's a proposition for you. What do you feel like? Do you feel like Cube is getting the short end of the stick for representing black people, coming up with a plan for black people? Or what do you think about this whole, Cube? Because me and you both fans of Cube. I know you more, you a Mac 10 fan too, but you know what I mean? But Cube is our guy. So what do you feel about that, man? I need to have another opinion on this that's not yelling at me.
Okay, well, I kind of I didn't see the interview that he did. I kind of brushed past it, so I really don't know in detail exactly what's going on. But even based on what you said, he pretty much was stepping into that role as a leader and trying to come up with a plan that he sees fit just to
Right,
work. So it's like, okay, if nobody else is going to speak up, let me go ahead and speak up about this situation and see if this is going to work the way that I'm presenting it and see what they got to say about it once I do present it. And then we can go from
right,
there.
right. Right, and a lot of people is getting on Cube right now because they're like, well, Cube don't represent all black people, and Cube don't do this, and Cube don't do that. And what's funny is that we're looking at a guy who could have took $75,000 and still been on NWA and turned around and said, now I don't need that. Serve his own, did his own deal, did his own negotiations with him and his wife, and created a multi-billion-dollar business. You know what I mean? So created his own
And you gotta
basketball
and
league.
you gotta look at it from not to cut you off, but you gotta look at it from this standpoint too. Like you said, a lot of people might say, all right, Cube don't represent like all black people, right? Which is true, but he
Right,
does have that platform where he's able to speak and draw that attention. So even other people who
right,
may have that platform, why are they not speaking up and even saying something, whether
right,
they agree with him or not, or even saying their opinion, saying, okay, well, this is what I want to lay out though too, to kind of piggyback off of Cube. And this is what I think we should do as well, just to have these voices so we can come up with a ultimate, decision on what we're gonna do, how we're gonna
right.
proceed
And it's
forward.
right, and it's almost the same thing as what Killer Mike was doing with Bernie Sanders. He's with Bernie Sanders. He's talking about a plan for black people. Everybody's all good with that. But I think we've talked about this before. We knew how
Mm-hmm.
rappers and people felt about Trump before he became president.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? And people don't have revisionist history to look at. We was riding with Trump before he became president. And ever since he
Yeah, you could
became
trace that
president,
back. You could trace that
right,
back from lyrics to TV shows. They was like Trump was the man. Trump was the man. Everybody you heard him, whether in lyrics, whether on TV shows, he was doing guest appearance. Everybody was talking about Trump. But of course, years later now, it's like, okay, now we don't want him as president. We don't agree with nothing he says and all that. Versus just looking again at the reality and be like, okay, this makes sense, but this right here don't know how to separate it. But just look at it for what it is.
right. Right. And that's something you talk about. But again, this goes back to the book because you talk about
Yep.
all of these different things
Yep.
in the book. So that's why, one thing that you always say to me and you, again, we have a lot of conversations. The one thing that you always will say is that you have to be able to think for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And not be programmed, but people don't like to think for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Explain that. You know what I'm saying? Because from the conversation we have, but explain that how people don't think for themselves and actually, they go off of emotions instead of rationally just sitting back and thinking.
And that still kind of goes back even to fear. But of course, like I even speak about in the book, how society is set up, how society has pretty much trained you. They really don't want you thinking outside of how they taught you. So anything outside of that is looked at as odd or something's wrong with you. Like, why are you not thinking inside this box? Why are you having like free will and free thought? Like, what's wrong with you? And just
Right.
like you said, me and you always have conversation. I'm like, okay, even if we don't agree on things, I'm like, okay, I'm glad you even thought about it. Whether you listen to me, it was like, okay, I see where you coming from, but I do view it slightly different. You still had your own thought, which is outside of the system thought, outside of this matrix.
Right, right. And a lot of people, when even when I was talking about the election or whatever, the main thing I said was a lot of people just need to think and read for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't think, first of all, if you don't think for yourself, somebody else is going to think for you. Dick Gregory said
Exactly.
that they will think for you if you don't think for yourself. They're going to provide it for
And
you if you don't
a
provide
lot
it
of
for
times, I don't know
yourself.
if you even see it though too. A lot of times, I didn't put on there. I was like, y'all better think while it's still legal, because they don't like you thinking for
Right,
yourself. You better think
right,
while it's still legal.
right. And even when I would talk about the flat Earth thing. When people were like, "Oh, you crazy," because they told us what Earth looks like. But then when I questioned it, like, okay, why they got to draw it? Why can't they just go outside and take a picture of it? Oh, well, I'm just thinking for myself. You know what I'm saying? And people look at you like you're crazy if you say that I don't believe in a lot of the pseudoscience that they give us. You know what I'm saying? Because if medicine, if the pharmaceutical companies was making all this medicine to make us better, then why ain't none of us better? You know what I'm saying? Thinking about it.
Yeah,
And if they say, well, if you go to a foreign country, if you go to Africa and they're eating this particular thing and they don't have none of these problems, then who is really killing us? That's thinking for yourself. But if you say that out loud, if you say Dr. Sebi, you know what I'm
yeah, it's a
saying, was
no
on
no.
a different level. Right. They be like, oh, you in this conspiracy and you crazy and that ain't real or that's fake.
But
Again,
that's also scare tactics to get you to shy away from thinking for yourself.
right,
Because a lot of people, as soon as somebody say that, they might want to back off or shut up. No, you crazy. Oh, that's nothing but a conspiracy theory. Versus,
right,
and then even that person that's on the receiving end, a lot of times they're closed minded and they don't even want to hear to see even if it makes sense how you trying to explain it. Because then if you do explain something that makes sense, then they force with, okay, I got to kind of adjust how I thought about it before. I got to look at it differently because that do make sense. And they don't
right.
want to deal with that change where they might have to change something that they were doing once before. Like, oh, okay, that did make sense. So I might want to look at that differently.
My bad. It's the alarm, and everybody on the audio that's listening to it, they're like, "Dude, cut your alarm off." I did. I cut it off. Nikki, my other alarm keeps coming back on, so my fault. Go ahead and finish your thought before it kind of clicked off.
Yeah, your alarm threw me off. I was trying to see where we was at.
But okay, so I'm gonna dive into this chapter because everybody wants to when I feel like I always feel like ladies will always want to see what's in there for them. So of course, I went to the relationship chapter. So
Okay.
I'm gonna just read this. It says people who truly. It says it's people who truly think that they are given information to seriously help, but it's only temporary. Many people are very vocal about saying this is the do's and don'ts of a relationship, but that is only their truth, only
Yep.
what they think will work. So I finally break down the reality of it all. I'm not going to read anymore because I want people to actually read that chapter. But when you were saying this, a lot of people will sit here and think when you're trying to provide information to you meet somebody for the first time and you're trying to provide that information. This is who I am. This is the people don't realize this is what they're seeing, their perspective of their X amount of years of life. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
don't make it gospel, it don't make it truth, but you do need to respect that this is their thought and their process. Go into the process of thinking when you was writing the chapter about, okay, when you start thinking about this, what was the process of writing that particular chapter?
Even with that chapter, like even what you just read, and of course, I knew that was going to be a very big topic. I'm already getting like a lot of feedback even from it, where people saying it makes sense. It helped them even with that particular chapter. It helped them understand even as they moving forward or in the relationship that they in now. But of course, from talk shows to podcasts to radio shows, all type of things, it's always a big conversation on relationship. But a lot of times, people are biased about it. And again, as I spoke about, they don't give the reality of it. They don't break it all the way down to the roots of it. And even as I said later on, even in the
Right.
chapter, even with relationships, they are not complicated. People complicate them. They are not complicated at all. If you look at the reality, you go right down to the roots, you be like, oh, okay. So I really been messing it up because of my emotions, because I was bringing on baggage from this other one, because I was initially looking at things incorrectly. So that's why I even put it that way, even in the beginning. Like, look, let me break it down to the roots of it to let you know, look, you can simplify it and have a very good relationship if you look at all the dynamic of what a relationship really is.
Right, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. Emotions, our own emotions, keep us from achieving the goals, even in relationships that we want to seek out because we're goes back to fear. It goes back to
Yep.
reality. That's why y'all need to get this book because it all ties in together. All the
And
things
that's why I
that
even
all the
overlap
conversations of course
the
we
chapters
have.
too. That's why I kind of overlap the chapters too, because even the death chapter, of course, that's related and it has a correlation to fear though too. So as you're reading, and you will see like, okay, as I mentioned in this chapter, so you can be like, okay, he did talk about this. Now he's picking back up in this chapter. So it's all done strategically.
Right, right. And a lot and like I said, once you read once you start really getting into the book, again, I gotta get out for chapter one. Once you really start getting in the
Hey,
book,
I
you'll start
understand.
really understanding the depths of the book. I, you know what I'm saying? And to understand exactly uh what Jay is actually talking about and apply it. And a lot of people will like really when I one thing that I do is when I buy books, I apply it to my everyday life. Whether it's I read As Bad as I Want to Be, the Dennis Rodman book. But what I got out of the Dennis Rodman book was the man was just being himself. And
Yep.
sometimes we
It
don't
wasn't scared to
apply
be itself.
the little tidbits of what's being really said. Right. You know what I mean? So, when Dennis was like, well, this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? If I want to, dress like this or if I want to bring this type of attention, but this is who I am. I'm doing it for a purpose. You know what I mean? When James Baldwin was talking about his book and why he went and started doing this and doing that and so on and so forth, we need to take the information out of the book and start applying into our everyday life. I'm not saying the whole entire book, but certain things in the book start applying to everyday life, and that goes into your life coaching because really, all you really just putting life coaching right here
Yeah, pretty
on paper.
much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much
And
what
if you
that's
want
what
to
it
get
is.
more
Is just me life coaching through the book. And even as I was
right,
writing, also, I want to say at least like 6 months prior to me writing it, different conversations I was having with different clients, they were asking me certain questions, and I kind of laughed to myself, like, "Hey, that's in the book." They're like, "When is it coming out?" I'm like, "It's in the book," but I was like, I felt good with saying that because all the different topics I had and the different people I was talking to, all these different things came up. It lets me know that okay, I did put the right chapters in it that was going to benefit people as they read.
right, absolutely. So I ain't gonna hold you too much longer. Tell everybody where they can be able to find you at and get the book. I know my man B up here putting all the wood on in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Try to get him to tap in. You know what I mean? So everybody that I know, B, you need to start checking out the podcast, bro. Podcast, man. I got more interviews coming up. Uh, Again, where can they show you? Where can they find the book at? And where can they be able to get in contact with you? Either for life coaching, information, or to be a life coach to them.
Okay, the easiest way even to get a hold of me even is on Facebook. So it's Jericho J Young, even on Facebook. Instagram is at GS Life Coach. So either or, you can definitely just message me, ask me the questions you may ask, and we could even go from there. As far as the book is available like pretty much damn near everywhere. A lot of people, of course, because Amazon is so big, a lot of people been getting it strictly off Amazon, but it's also on barnesandnoble.com, or you can even find it even at some places and some locations as well, or they can order directly from you for you. Excuse me. Even Walmart to Target, if those are your areas, you can order from there. Even online, have it shipped directly to you. Book Baby, Books a Million. That's it. Pretty much wherever you can purchase books at, I'm pretty sure it's available there, and even ebooks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought about this. Just popped in my head. What
Uh-huh.
about all the problems going on with you promoting it? Can I speak on that? Because I wasn't gonna let. I just thought about. I was like, I can't let this go. Let you go before we
Well,
start talking about that.
it's been an uphill battle, not only because of things I've said in there, and as we talked about, people were upset because I'm getting people to think, which is overall raising the vibration of everybody that comes in encounter with the book, which is good. It's causing people to
Right.
think. So it's passing on from person to person, and everybody beginning to think differently. So it's raising the overall frequency. So of course they don't like that. So all the way from even before I put the book out, it's been pushed back. Like you even said, even the way that I even wrote the book, they looking like, Mr.
Right.
Young, we got all these caps in here. Was this a mistake? No, leave it alone. Okay. Well, we seen this on this page too. Was this an error? No, leave it alone. All the way to right before I got ready to even release it. Well, we're not sure if this particular place is going to take it because the way that you format it, I'm like, I'll talk to them if it comes down to that. Leave it alone. We still gonna put it out. So almost everything, all the way down to me trying to advertise, and they're trying to block it. Where I'm even paying for advertisement, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're still looking over it. It's still pending. We'll let you know once it's reviewed, and then we'll go ahead and
Right.
shoot it out to everybody for you." But it never happened. So I'm like, okay, I just go around it. I can still get around it, so it don't matter. It's still gonna get out there.
Right. And that's why I said people need to understand formats like this is why this is a necessity. You know what I'm saying? Because my podcast is I got people in Europe, in Africa, you know what I'm saying, that's listening to my podcast in Canada and in the United States, of course, everywhere in the United States. So that's why we make these create these platforms. You know what I'm saying, for people like Jay to be doing his thing. And shout out to Jay for writing this book. Shout out to Aisha Mason for her
Appreciate
book.
it.
Taisha, yeah, Taisha. These are black. These are Tisha for writing her book. You know, her children's book. What's her name? Sick. I can't think of her first name right now, but her writing her book that's under my man Roger Suggs, that they do the FBOE. It's under FBOE. These are black people writing books. It's more. I just can't think of them all at once, and I don't want to continue to say every time that I'm thinking. But these are people who are out here, this black, writing books about their experiences or and their thoughts, and we need to be able to support them because this is exactly what we need. So when people say, I don't want so and so to represent me, well, I'm from the same spot. You need to represent, if you invest in me, I can represent you better. And these are black individuals that's representing the culture. So, I got to give you a round of applause for representing the culture.
Definitely appreciate it too.
And of course, I'm gonna keep shouting out the book. The more and more that I read, the more I'm using on this podcast. So people be like, "Hey, where did you get that from?" Oh, the Law of Subtraction. Who wrote that? That's Jay Young. You know what I'm saying? To get people to think, and like you said, be able to think and read. Read. I know reading is hard, but you can do it because it's fundamental. But they said the way that we need to get that stigmatism out. Hide the information in the book. Where's the book? You don't need to hide it no more. Just go ahead, put your money out there. You know what I'm saying? How much you selling it for?
$18, and of course I got a video where I even break that down, and I'm selling it for $18. But all that was done purposely too. I could have had the different price, but I purposely priced it at $18.
$18. I spent like $18 just eating. You know what I'm saying? At Chipotle for 2 meals. So that means you could be able to eat with your mind. You know what I'm saying? Spend $18 one time, feeding your mind, feeding your soul, feeding that energy that we have, man. You already know I appreciate you coming on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you even for having me, though. I definitely appreciate it.
So, you know, I'm gonna have when I'm talking about other topics, you know, I'll be wanting to get you in when I be talking about other stuff. You know what I mean? But you know, I know our schedules be kind of different. You know what I mean? So you know, we gonna try to get you in just on some, you know what I'm saying, on some other topics, some deep topics. You know what I mean? So if anybody, go ahead, check out the book, The Law of Subtraction. We're putting this up one more time. The Law of Subtraction. And don't be trying to ask for no autographs either. You can buy the book and you can autograph it.
And I like to add this: if for some reason, some reason you get the book and you don't like it, keep the receipt where you got it from. Then what I want you to do is go right back to where you got it, then get another one, and then read that one and see if you like that one a little bit better.
So when it's time for me to write my book, you know I'm gonna holler at you.
Hey, let me know.
All right now, Jay, man. You already know. Much love to you, man. You know I'm gonna holler at you later.
Salute.
All right. That's my man, Jay Young. Make sure, again, give him a round of applause. Again, make sure y'all checking out The Law of Subtraction. This is not upside down. Everybody who's watching it on YouTube, who's watching it on Facebook, it's not upside down. It's the way it is. The Law of Subtraction is not everything. It's upside down. It's right side up. It was right side down. I'm just making stuff up now. I don't know. But check out the book from Jay Young. Check out him on Barnes & Noble's, Amazon, where you can be able to get your books from. And I'll holler at y'all later. Peace. Shalom to everyone. I got more interviews coming up later. So check me out.